Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us in our webinar. I am Rhea Jain, Marketing Manager at ValueFirst. If you're eager to get to know what's going to drive marketing in 2019, then you've tuned into the right place, because we are going to discuss 7 online marketing trends that you cannot afford to miss in 2019. In this webinar, we will have a short pop quiz, then the experts forecast on marketing trends. We will also take up some common queries, and after that we will share with you a useful industry resource for marketing trends. So brace yourself up, because here comes the pop quiz. I will ask you some questions and you will have to guess the answers. You'll get 5 seconds to think about it. Question number 1. What was the percentage revenue Facebook generated through online advertising? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Time's up. Well, if you answered anything less than 50%, you didn't quite make it. But if you answered more than 50%, even that won't justify the answer, because it is a whopping 98%. Yes, 98% of Facebook's revenue was reportedly generated from online advertising, and within that, mobile ads contributed about 90%. Surprising, isn't it? We are off to our next question, question number 2. Among top 20 newspapers in India by readership, how many are in English? Well, your time starts now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Time's up. Did you say 11 to 12? That's not the answer. It's only 2. Yes, only 2 newspapers are in English. Rest are in other regional languages. Well, don't worry if you didn't answer this one. We have another question for you. Question number 3. Apple, which is the second largest publicly traded company, took 23 years since foundation to reach the $10 billion valuation club. Microsoft took 16 years. Netflix took 14. Starbucks, 32 years. What could be, according to you, the minimum time taken by an organization to reach the $10 billion valuation club up till last year? The time starts now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, it's a staggering 7 months. Just 7 months for an electronic cigarette company called Juul Labs to shoot to the $10 billion valuation club. The company relied heavily on social media for its marketing, with Instagram as one of its prime channels. We have another question, the last one coming up. Question number 4. Can you estimate the global market size of bots and digital assistants by next year? Your time starts now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, the Indian chatbot industry, even in its nascent stages, is a $3.1 billion market, according to analysts. It is predicted that the chatbot marketing globally will touch $600 billion by the end of next year. Well, this is one way to estimate what the upcoming trends would be. That was our pop quiz round. If you are amazed by some of the answers, then I'm sure you're going to enjoy the rest of the webinar, as it is going to add a lot of novelty. For this, we have our expert of the day, who is going to discuss the 7 online marketing trends you cannot afford to miss in 2019. Please allow me to welcome Mr. Punit Modhgil. He is the Chief Marketing Officer at ValueFirst and the co-founder and director at Octane Marketing. Coming from 30 years of rich industry experience, he has founded more than 3 organizations and worked in giants like Microsoft, NIIT, Siebel Systems, and Cryo. He is currently a strategic mode member at DMA Asia and founding editor at India Marketing Review. Building from a sound experience of sales and marketing from early on his career, Punit is a true marketer in all sense. Thanks a lot for joining, Punit, and welcome to the webinar. We are eager to learn about the trends. Over to you now.
Thank you, Rhea, for the opportunity. If you look at 2018, we saw a few trends amplify in India digital. We saw that over 450 million users are on the internet. We saw that mobile first has become a reality. We saw that social spends have increased, though there is a challenge in terms of ROI, and that attribution assignment continues to be a big issue. We are in 2019, so what are the top 7 trends we see in our interactions with brands in India, and what are the opportunities it provides to the marketeers in India? So in the next about 25 to 30 minutes, I'll take you through those 7 broad trends and then see how can you leverage these trends to your advantage and be digitally dexterous. That's the report title that we have, and if you've not downloaded a copy as yet, you can download this from Octane Research. So let me take you through first big trend we see in marketing in India, and that's local language content. It is often said that India internet has happened in 2 waves, and the third wave, the India Internet 3.0, will be driven largely by local language content. Good news is that the India marketeers have realized the value of local language content for marketing and for customer communication, and we see, for example, this year that there's a 30% increase in the votes from marketeers for local language initiatives being in the top 3 areas of investment. That's a great sign of local languages becoming more prominent. It is often said that the next 600 to 800 million users on internet in India will be non-English speaking. So it's important for brands to stay in touch and stay in tune with this trend, and hence we see that local language content initiatives have seen increase in 2018 and we'll see larger investments in 2019. So if you're not ready for it, this is the time to kick up the tires, get some investments aligned towards local language initiatives. Most companies have reported, for example, in 2018 that whatever their expectations were from local language content ROI, they've been able to meet them before time. I'll give an example. Amphi runs a public awareness campaign in English or Hinglish for insurance, for mutual funds, not insurance, but mutual funds. Why should investors look at mutual funds more seriously? When they launched their Hindi website, they met their numbers way much in advance. They had forecasted X number of months for traffic and conversion, and they saw that this was much faster than anticipated. So when marketers are looking at local language projects in India in 2019, I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing higher, faster ROI compared to last few years. In fact, this year, incidentally, you can also download the copy of Digital Dexterity, this annual research report, in Hindi. We should try and do this for other languages next few years. The other big trend we see is the continuous struggle to measure effectively the entire clickstream analysis. There is a big hurdle in terms of attribution. You have first click attribution, last click attribution, decay over fewer clicks. So that life cycle of clicks and the customer journey, how do you assign attribution percentage weightages and how do you measure them, continues to be a big hurdle, big challenge for marketers. We believe this has been largely because of technology limitation. This is what also marketers have voted. I hope this year, and we hope this year, the technology will not be a limitation and it will be purely knowledge and awareness of the marketers that could be a bit of an issue. So this is a big trend, that attribution continues to be a big issue for marketers, and that will continue to be an area of investment and opportunity for marketers to improve, especially in the digital area. If you look at the third big trend, what we have seen is the rise of India consumer, which is online 24/7, is mobile enabled, is WhatsApp friendly, and wants to stay in touch with brands 24/7. You can no longer say that I am a brand online and I'm selling online and my call center is available only 9 to 5 days a week. You have to be available. Now that does possess big issues and challenges in terms of staffing, investments. If you have to scale a one-seater call center 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to a 24/7, you're looking at the investments in the magnitude of 5 times to 6 times of the cost of one seater. So it is a huge jump and huge investment for brands to make if they have to stay in touch and in tune with consumers who want to have responses at 1 o'clock in the morning. Thankfully, there are technologies available which are enabling this for marketers in India. We saw an emergence of AI and chatbots in 2018. A lot of clients moved their pilots into mainstream production in 2018, and we feel that that's one area where there'll be a lot more investments in terms of mainstreaming. Those pilots will happen also in India. So cross-channel marketing, marketing automation, and chatbots are the two technology areas where marketers are forecasting continued investment. And this will be one area where user experience will improve. Consumers don't have to wait for call center availability to call a number to get their questions answered. We find that most of the queries that customer centers get, contact centers get, are routine in nature, and customers prefer a live interaction more than a FAQ. The chatbots are somewhere in the middle. They provide the immediacy, and they're much more interactive than compared to a static FAQ. So 80% of your FAQs can be answered through chatbots, which was not possible earlier. So this is again two areas of investment which have been voted by marketers as the top two latest technologies where they'll see a lot more investments in 2019. So that's an exciting tech-enabled future for digital marketers in the next 12 months. To be successful as a marketer, what are the top skills that are required? We asked this question also to 350 plus brands in our last research outreach. And the ability to embrace change, the ability to spot the right opportunities, and being passionate, curious, and hungry to learn came out as the top 3 skills that marketers should definitely have in the dynamic and fast-changing digital marketing scenario. So if you're a young marketer, digital marketer, fresh digital marketer, somebody with less than 5 years of experience, these are the 3 soft skills I would hugely invest for professional growth and also contributing largely to the team you're part of. And change is the only constant in technology, to borrow a cliche, but this will be much more a mainstream trend we'll see in 2019 with newer technologies coming in, with newer types of consumers coming in who are not comfortable in English. It's going to be a fabulously challenging year, and marketers which exhibit these few skills, top skills, will be much in demand, and they'll deliver more towards the marketing teams, marketing ROI. As the spends have been growing on digital marketing for brands in India, we have seen traditionally 20% to 30% rise in the investments in digital for marketers in India. We are finding that the ROI contribution of digital spends is continuing to be a big challenge for India marketers. So 2018 was something similar, and I think for 2019, proving ROI on digital marketing spends will continue to be a big challenge for India marketers. Justifying revenue impact of high social media spends, correct click attribution for effective measurement of digital channels emerge as the top 3 challenges for India marketers in 2019. Don't get me wrong, social media investments will continue to rise. There is an audience out there you want to tap into, but unless we close the loop in terms of the measurement of the effectiveness of those spends, going beyond just, oh, we have got engagement going on. Engagement has to translate into some form of positive movement of pipeline or consumer pipeline. And unless that equation, last mile, is sorted out by the digital marketers, those questions on ROI on digital will continue to be mainstream, and there will be significant management pushback onto digital marketing teams. So if you look at the next big trend we have seen, digital one-to-one, which is personalized, contextual communication, is still very much preferred by consumers in India. So though at one level, email marketing, the traditional email marketing practices have died or are dying, which is we used to have batch and blast mode, one mailer sent to everybody, 2 million subscribers. Those kind of email practices will be under tremendous stress because you're getting suboptimal results now on that channel. But if you look at the combination of personalized, contextual, automated alerts and drip campaigns, wave campaigns from email marketing or SMS, or combination of these two, is contributing significantly towards ROI for digital brands, digital only, or e-commerce companies. For example, historically, between 5 to 15% of your revenues on e-commerce channels have come from good, effective email marketing. But if your open rate is 5% and if your click-through rate is less than 1% in your email campaigns or even your SMS campaigns with links, hyperlinks, then perhaps you'll not be able to get that ROI. So low engagement rate is a big concern for marketers in India as per our last research. And 56% of marketers are planning to use more behavioral targeting for email marketing in 2019. So we have to move away lock, stock and barrel from traditional batch and blast email marketing, non-differentiated, undifferentiated, unsegmented email marketing to lesser volume per campaign, but lot more campaigns. So we need to do lot more campaigns, and this will not be possible by typical manual, panel-based upload the mailer, upload the list, and send an email campaign out. I think those campaign days are almost over, if not over, and we have to go towards more automated email campaigns, which are part of a consumer journey with the brand in terms of discovery, exploration, finalizing, and finally ordering. Surprisingly, only 35% email marketers in India are extremely confident in understanding the data privacy laws governing email marketing. So historically, we may have turned a blind eye towards it. With GDPR becoming a reality and with stringent laws coming in India for data privacy, this is one space in 2019 I will be keenly observing, and I would recommend to India marketers that we should be a little bit careful about this part of data privacy as it relates to email or SMS. All said and done, it's still a legacy channel, but it does need a lot more nurturing before it starts delivering, and I feel that's one place where email continues to be a channel for maximum ROI for digital marketing across all marketers who have reported their feedback to us, though we have an issue in terms of traditional email marketing practices which we have to address. So those were my broad 7 sort of trends we see in the marketplace if you look at digital in India, more specifically to consumers who are coming online. And there could be some recommendations I may have for you. We also get questions from our audience, from marketers, the marketing community we serve, about some of these trends. For example, we've got questions. The first question is, how can regional languages find way in the brand narrative? How can you as a marketer include local languages, regional languages in your brand outreach? Well, first and foremost, from a content discovery perspective, can we ensure that our content is available in regional languages? For whatever brand, you have a story around your brand, you have campaigns. So first baby step we should all take is to see if we can have content out there in local languages, perhaps translated from English to start with, but later on also have content which is only in that particular language. It is not just a translation of your work in English. And then the second would be to optimize local content for local distribution in local channels. The channels you'll use for distribution for English language content is very different from the channels you will use for distributing local language content. The audiences are different, the audiences stay in different places, and I would not just put them in the same bucket in terms of how I go and do my digital spends for English communications. Those are the 2 steps I would do for including regional languages in my brand narrative. Take baby steps, take some investments, and then see if you can get ROI, and put the same measurement of success that you would have for the English content. Don't have 2 separate measures, have the same measure for measuring the impact of that. In our experience over the last 12 months, in my personal interaction with CMOs, this is one huge area of opportunity, as we see more and more newer users of online in India using internet, and they're not comfortable in English only. So that's one thing. Those are top 2 things. The third would be use video content. Video is one content format which works very well. A lot of the audiences coming onto online may not know English, but they may not also be literate in terms of being able to read content even in Hindi or local languages. So having video content may be the third thing I would do to include local regional video content in my brand narrative. Second question I've got is, how do I know if chatbot is effective for my business? Good question. There are a few things you could look at as pointers before you realize that chatbots could be effective for your business. Chatbots are being used in many functions across the globe, where they've been found to be hugely effective is customer facing roles. So customer service online, or responses on order shifts, etc. So anything where you get queries on your call center because of your online portfolio, online website, is a great place for you to have chatbots deployed. So customer service chatbots or sales assistant chatbots online, these are the best places for you to get started. Anywhere you have frequent transactions in terms of same questions being asked, repetitive questions being asked, anywhere you have customers not willing to go to FAQ sites and go through boring content in FAQ format, those questions which are very simple to answer are not very specific to a particular person or their case, are good cases for chatbots. Chatbots are very effective for businesses which are trying to go from 8 hour, 5 days a shift to 24/7 availability, and that's where it works very well. If you have repetitive questions about product, service, shipment, delivery, these are very effective. So those are few instances, use cases where you may find chatbots to be much more effective for your business. There's another question about, given the rise in number of channels, digital channels, how does a marketer plan consumer engagement? How do you plan your budgets? Well, that's a great question, and interestingly, this problem will continue to grow as we have more channels and more consumers going through those channels. So this problem will not diminish. There are a few pointers you can use. The attention span of a consumer is fragmenting across channels. For example, I hear this story or this question or this feedback or pointer that my email channel used to be a rockstar channel, but I'm not getting the right level of engagement on email. And guess what? It's not just true for email. Earlier you could put a Facebook post, put some money behind that Facebook post, and you would get a lot more engagement and conversion. That's no longer true. Earlier you could just have an app or a website and you'll get a lot more customer traction, consumer traction, and order queries. That's also not true. So every 6 months or 3 months you'll have a new channel. Currently the fastest growing category is video content created by users. So there will be newer channels coming up. What's important is that we put automation tools. It's next to impossible to manually create content, chop content, and edit content, and post content and track it. You will need to use advanced technologies and tools to be able to manage so many channels. However, you should not make the mistake of having the same content played out across many channels, because each channel has a different format of engagement. So you have to learn that particular channel. That's an additional cost of investment and training for a marketing team. But overall, there are tools available which can help you deploy your content and your outreach across many social channels, many digital channels. But this will be an area which will challenge the marketing teams even more in 2019. Given the trends we have seen, are there some recommendations we at Octane Research or ValueFirst would have for marketers like you, that perhaps these are your go-dos? This is the takeaway that you have from this session, that you can go back and deploy it. Of course, you can go through detailed report here with a lot more insights. We have about 40 plus questions deeply profiled around B2B, B2C across industries. Great brands who have participated, multinational companies, Indian brands, startups across sectors, BFSI, insurance, e-commerce. I'll let you go through this in more detail by your own. But what are the top 5 recommendations that I would have, or we would have, based on our research and our continued understanding of working with so many brands in India? So let me just take you through the 5 areas which are our recommendation in terms of how could you deploy your marketing budgets in 2019 for digital, but with effectiveness of the next level. So one is that we feel that we have invested a lot of money in mapping different channels, and different ROI models for different channels. So we have categorized email and SMS as performance marketing, and we have categorized YouTube and Facebook as engagement vehicles. Somewhere we have lost that connecting piece which should bring all of these disparate channels into one funnel through an automation, and that's one part which is where I feel that we are underinvested as marketeers in terms of time and tools to effectively measure the success of marketing efforts. We find that only 18% marketeers, well actually up to 18% marketeers not performing any attribution, and 49% marketeers indicating attribution as a major challenge. If we have the right automation in place, if we have the right measures in place, the only challenge remaining would be when you incent partner channels for their contribution to traffic to your website. How do you measure and incent affiliate traffic to your website? How do you pay them on performance? I think if you have a basic, robust structure in place in terms of automation of measurement and also click attribution model, there are about 6 or 7 good attribution models available. We find that most of us are still doing either first click attribution or last click attribution. So I think if you do a customized model around where you want to be and in your business with a customer journey mapped out across all touch points, that could lead to a better revenue conversion funnel, and that would be an important part to crack. Huge recommendation on this one. Unless you get this right, you'll get more and more fragmented view of your digital channels, and you'll continue to struggle to prove what works and what doesn't work. If you look at the second recommendation, is that not just the attribution model, but the customer expectation in terms of number of channels they want to reach out to you has grown exponentially. So we are finding that if you do something which is in isolation of a consumer journey, of discovery, of selection, of buying from you, then the campaigns are not very effective. So in that context, deploying smart systems is very, very important, and that would be my second biggest recommendation to you, that artificial intelligence is important, machine learning is important, but unless we tie them across the customer journey with the brand experience, I don't think we'll get the necessary ROI and will not add value. So AI platforms for businesses are important. They're very efficient. They're also self-learning. And as we discussed earlier in this webinar, a lot of your functions are ready to be mapped to such automation. Cross-channel marketing, don't send an email campaign in isolation. Send an email campaign as a programmatic approach towards a consumer engagement. For example, why should you send a blank email, message promotion email to everyone? Why not send them segmented emails based on their preferences and their past behavior? So those are smart automation in terms of cross-channel and deploying AI and sort of machine learning for smarter campaigns and smarter proactive predictive understanding of the consumer is where I would suggest that you should invest time and money, energy, and give your customer experience the next flip. We often have put a lot of effort in top-down campaigns and top-down programs, and though last mile is where we not end up having the right information in place. I'll give an example. Very often we've deployed a cross-marketing automation platform, and that has an email, but that also has SMS and other push notification channels. But we don't end up getting the richness of the last mile interaction. For example, your last 5 email campaigns or email alerts, which platform did the consumer open it on? What time of the day? So very few tools will give you that detailing of last mile automation and measurement, but that I believe is key on how you engage with them with the next cascade of email campaigns. So automation is making life easier, but the right automation tool for the last mile integration is very key. There are a lot of tools available where the last mile automation can be taken care of by the platform itself. You do not have to come to the cockpit to be able to make those adjustments. For example, if you've sent a mailer and in in that mailer there is a particular section for shoes and there's a particular section for clothes, and if the consumer has clicked on the section called clothes, automatically the next few campaigns can be cascaded without you being able to, or you needing to program it at the top level across all channels. So while we have done a good job as marketeers in many instances in integrating all the channels into a cross-channel marketing automation deployment, very often we have lost out on the details of those individual channels. That's been the constant struggle, isn't it? You can have best of breed or you can have an integrated solution. I believe now in 2019 you have what we call as marketing automation 2.0 tools, which can give you best of both the worlds. That would be my second recommendation. Don't look for just automation, look for automation which will get you the last mile detail, which can be the big difference between success and average success for your marketing automation. Fourth recommendation would be to double click on the email psychology of the consumer. Consumer has a lot more power when you send them email campaigns. We are receiving our emails first on our mobile devices. We are not going off our email boxes, though we are very stringent on how we consume email content and email campaigns that come to us. And unless we engage as marketeers on email channel, if you're just sending them push notifications, push content in terms of offers, I think we'll not see the engagement. Historically, even now, marketers in India have voted email as the top performing revenue ROI channel. Sadly, to some extent, we have not seen the same level of effectiveness being brought to email marketing campaigns. Our email marketing campaigns are still dated 2014, 2015. Our templates are not tested for newer user consumption patterns. And this is where most marketers are struggling to keep up with the algorithm change of email engines, which are punishing non-profiled, unsegmented batch and blast email campaigns. I don't know how much you track the Gmail measure movements on email, but if your consumers are not engaging with your content, then email engines will start penalizing you and moving your genuine content towards spam folders or promotion tabs. So I believe that personalization aligned with consumer buying journey is one of the most effective ways to get your email campaigns to start delivering. If your teams are getting email campaign performances of less than 5%, 6% open rate and 1% click-through rate, there is time for you to invest some horsepower and understand, is it a tools problem, is it a database problem, is it the content problem, is it the entire workflow around email channel? And I do feel that we still have a lot of potential in this channel to be able to contribute 5 to 15% of your revenues on a recurring basis through email and SMS. Again, just don't do email, push notification, SMS, combination of these 3 or 4, and you'll start seeing the next level of ROI from your consumer campaigns. Last but not the least is the content focus. We are still seeing a lot of content where it's more about promo or product awareness. We're not seeing a lot of content which will engage the audience or the ecosystem. Good news is that a lot of you are investing in content management programs. You have taken the approach of going to third party and sponsoring those contents which appeal to your consumer segments or TGs. I do believe that you all have a story to be told about the brands, and some of the brand campaigns in the last 12 to 18 months in India have leveraged the power of content and engaging content to get their message across. But we still see that marketeers are in still maybe second phase of understanding how to leverage good content and bring about ROI. Great content, especially the dynamic, well thought out stories, create contextual conversations with the customer, and they are much more effective. See, marketeers have understood the long tail phenomena. It's not just the first campaign. Of course, you'll get some conversion, but the engagement across 12 months, across a cycle, is what leads to much better results. So we believe there are 3 trends that deserve a special focus in this area. One is the consumption of local content, which we discussed earlier also. So if you're just focused on English, I would put English content on maybe a standby mode or business as usual mode, and I would double click more on the local content. Some marketers have said that the ecosystems for local language content are not that mature. I think it's a catch-22. If we as marketers start investing money and resources, I don't think we don't have the talent or the know-how at the local language content level. This will happen. And second is video content. Video content is top of the charts, and brands need to leverage this content format. We've seen a huge shift in the last 12 months with marketeers investing a lot of money in video content, and that should continue in 2019 as well. Google India forecasts more than 50% search queries to be voice driven by 2020 in India, which does mean that just putting your content out and keeping it tagged for discovery through search queries, text-based search queries, may not be enough. You may have to enable voice search for content for better accessibility and discoverability. That's one area where I think in 2019 we need to put a lot more focus. So these were my top 5 recommendations. Before that, I have taken you through 7 big trends we see, and in between I've tried to give you answers of some of the questions we got as part of our market research for the 2019 research, which is digital dexterity. We'll be happy to take your questions on an ongoing basis. We are on LinkedIn, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook. So feel free to drop an email to us at marketing@vfirst.com or stay engaged with us on our websites and digital presence. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best for your digital campaigns and marketing campaigns in 2019. Happy selling.
Thank you, Punit, for being the guest and adding expert value to this discussion and answering our viewers. It is a pleasure to share this space with you. To our viewers, if you have any queries, don't worry. You can write to us and we will address all your questions. Tomorrow, we will upload a recorded link of this webinar across all social channels of ValueFirst: YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. If you have registered, then you'll receive an email with the webinar link. All you need to do is drop in with your queries in the comment section and we'll definitely answer. Don't forget to use the hashtag Digital2019. With this, we would like to conclude our webinar. I thank each one of you for participating and joining this webinar. Hope you had some key takeaways which you can use for your respective businesses. In fact, if you would like to have a copy of our research report, Digital Dexterity, then please follow the link on the screen or scan the QR code. If you want a physical copy, you can book it on the website or you can write to us on marketing@vfirst.com with your courier address. Your suggestions and feedbacks are also welcome. This is me, Rhea Jain, signing off. Hope you have a brilliant 2019 with a resounding marketing performance and increased business impact. Goodbye and see you soon.